Hello again. Basically, I realized that you have to have a side hustle in life. Uh, am I like, yeah, settings are good. I'm trying a new microphone system today, Rode NT5. Uh, I think it's better than the lavalier for at least for inside, I hope. What happens is I'm very fond of landscape photography, long exposure, minimalistic, black and white. The problem with that is you have to travel a lot and it costs you, the price of gasoline and stuff like this. I was trying to do something like Thomas Heaton style, buy a van, travel there, sleep in the van, much more engaging videos and stuff like this. But then on the top of the price of the petrol or diesel, now you have to pay for the van, and you have to you have to customize it for your own needs. Like this will cost you a fortune, and then you get like 48 views because people already saw his videos and they realized that, well, I don't have time to see another travel adventure landscape photography style, so it is just a disaster. So I felt the need to find a side hustle. That means maybe I can go somewhere in my local area and start photographing things like in a street photography style. So street photography, street photography is there. So I start studying a lot of street photography books about. I'm not talking about YouTube videos. I'm talking about real books, and I'm talking about real street photographers. They made history. But I quickly realized that those people that they put their fingerprint on history in terms of photography, they were living in a completely different era. So they were living in between wars. So the life was completely different back then. If you want to have interesting photographs, you have to put yourself into interesting situations. Now, thanks God, is peace. But people these days, they have other businesses like uh, electric cars and pets rides and, saving the environment. So obviously, this is absolutely great. I'm so happy that it is peaceful, but people are very aware of their image. Internet is conquering our lives. Back then, taking photograph on a film, like what you gonna do with that? You have to print it, and okay, so who's gonna see that image? You have to publish in a magazine or in another art gallery. Who's going to accept it? So people were much more laid back because even if you're taking that image on the street, like what you gonna do with them? Like obviously, some images those today became legendary. And the problem is today people simply are collecting images of others to embarrass them or to make pranks on social media, and nobody wants to be targeted for such a cheap humor on daily basis. So you see we have other struggles. And now in Europe, there is a GDPR, which means data protection. So there are countries like Germany or maybe France, but I'm not sure about France. I'm pretty sure about Germany, where street photography is kind of forbidden in terms that you can't really take someone image and you're targeting him in your photograph and put his image out there without the person's consent. So you have to you're only allowed to photograph gatherings of people, crowds of people, when nobody is actually the subject. And obviously, a lot of people found ways around this. Like, for example, they are using long exposure, they are blurring, but then you don't see the emotions on the people's face. You don't know what they are doing. They look like ghosts and stuff. It's quite challenging. And in Ireland here, we don't have these rules. I mean, there is a rule of common sense. Obviously, if if you are taking someone image, you probably it would be very hard to sell it without that person consent. That's why there are no money in street photography. Street photography for me is like art. But anyway, I said to myself that I'll save my legs, I'll save my wallet, I'll save my car, and I'll just try to do this street photography. I don't live in a big city, and going to Dublin, where street photography is kind of bizarre for me. I have a 9 to 5 job. I'm working as a surgeon. I'm pretty busy. And on top of that, I have to do on calls. I'm not going to spend my weekends going in Dublin and wandering for streets like 3-4 hours uh, to find serendipity, like lucky coincidences. I mean, what are you even doing in your life, man? I'm not gonna endure rain and cold just to get a shot of a random dude lighting a cigarette or drinking a coffee and the color of the cup matches the color of his shoes. Like, what is this? Whatever, I don't know what it means. So anyway, I tried to chance it by going into Kildare, village Kildare town, because yesterday on first of February was St. Bridget's Day. St. Bridget's is like a small patron of Ireland. The church there is beautiful. It's like 800 years old. The round tower in Kildare was open, and I was able to climb it upstairs. You have to pay like €5 for it. Very narrow, very slim. I didn't take any photographs. I was about to do some time lapses while I was on top, but the wind was just crazy. And honestly, there was nothing too much to to time lapse. It was just random houses and clouds. But the thing is that I I don't know. It didn't really tick for me. This whole street photography, and I'll show you the images. I'll show you all of them. I took maybe 100 or maybe less, and we'll edit them together. But I couldn't feel that this is something that I want to do, not because of GDPR, not because of anything like this, but because once I go back home, it just doesn't excite me to simply look at the images of strange people that I don't know, and they make the subject of my photograph, but they are actually doing nothing special. They are just living, walking down the streets. There is peace, thank God, as I was saying. Nobody wants trouble. Everybody wants to go from A to B. They want to spend a nice weekend outside, and that's about it. In other way, it is nothing happening. So then you are left with this to photograph these pockets of light, triangles of harsh light where people are coming in and out, and you think like, what are you even creating? I don't know. It's just, but let's see basically what I managed to shot and what was the reason behind all this. So this is the first photograph. This is a Presbyterian church or something like this. It's shot at whatever millimeters, like 27 millimeter. So I had the Tamron 28 to 75. As you can see, there is a very severe keystoning, and it's absolutely rubbish. If you do the border patrol, you have this electrical pole that makes no sense. This is a slightly underexposed version, but the overall image is bad. Here, I was inside the church yard, and I saw this couple going in, but you cannot see these faces. There is nothing that suggests they are the main purpose. The branches of tree, they create some sort of a frame, but probably in order to do something remotely better, I should probably crop it, but then I lose, something like this. They will be in a rule of thirds. There is this car there as well, which doesn't make any sense. So maybe like so the image is better, but again, there is a lot of negative space. The sky is completely rubbish. There is no texture. Maybe now it's better. Let's open up the shadows, do the whites and blacks, and maybe add some contrast. And now we add the Kodachrome emulation. And maybe, I don't know why it's grainy. I don't want Kodachrome grainy. I want the other one, Kodachrome 70. It's still grainy. Anyway, whatever. That's how it looks like. You can further tweak it by, for example, using this radial gradient here, just to illuminate these people with a light that makes absolutely no sense from where it's coming or going. But if we increase the exposure here a little bit, at least, yeah, it looks bad. At least maybe we can, maybe like this, maybe we can see now in its full glory this image, which is absolutely rubbish. Two people shot from behind like a paparazzi style, and it just doesn't make any sense. But there is this saint here, which kind of maybe add something, but it's so small in the frame that it just doesn't make any sense. We better move on and forget this horror story. This image I like. Again, we can probably throw the Kodachrome filter as well. I really like that. And then we slap an auto on it. Let's see what the computer thinks about this exposure. But again, I don't see any texture in the... Unfortunately, there's no texture in the sky. We can crop the image further. Just probably, I will use this time a square format, just because it looks like symmetry and stuff. And we make it symmetric, and we call it a day. Is it a good photo? Maybe. But is it something to put in my portfolio? No. But I like it. I like how this Madonna, it's kind of behind this glass, but then there is no other things to complement. There is no other contrast. It's just we move on. This is even worse. This is shot at 70 millimeters. Like, why would I use such a wide angle lens from such a distance? Everything looks dwarf. But the next image is kind of better, because now the church is straight and this is the real natural frame. So let's work on that. Let's, for example, bring the highlights down. Yeah, we can reveal the sky. It's absolutely amazing how much latitude this image has. And we can also increase the shadows and maybe lower the exposure a little bit. And then we play with the whites here. And then we play with the blacks in here. Where here. Until they just creep in. So we add a natural contour. Now looks much better. Let's see what happens if we add Kodachrome. Kodachrome, I kind of like it. And it looks like this. Do we need to use any vignette? We can probably use a vignette. We can use, again, this radial gradient, but this time I'm using it just to create a vignette around these edges. So do I need to invert it? No. Or do I need to invert it? Yes. Maybe, I don't know. Invert. So yeah, invert. This is, yes, invert more. That's much better. And we finished the edit. Sure, can you add contrast? Can you add more, for example, sharpness? But I think this is better. Again, the light is not particularly great on the church itself, but I think I can use this as a postcard and send it to my friends. Hey guys, look at this church. It's shot on inappropriately 28 millimeters actually. 17 was too stupid. Now we go to the next. Next is trash. I was getting inspiration from someone's video using this double line that acts like leading lines to the round tower. But as you can see, unfortunately, what is unfortunate is the fact that the tower itself is out of focus because I have used an inappropriate aperture. So the aperture was only 5.6, which should have been probably f22. Again, let me add the Kodachrome, or should I use Kodachrome? We can use this one, Kodachrome Grainy. This time we'll use Kodachrome Grainy, and there is nothing else to do but probably remove those electrical wires, but they kind of complement the leading lines on the road. But I'm just not happy that the image is not in focus. But anyway, we move on. This, when you see garbage, there is a garbage photo. This garbage bin, I didn't realize it. I just went for geometry and stuff. It sucks. We go further. Again, back of the cars, some signs. The picture is poorly cropped in camera. Doesn't work. But this one, oh my God, this one works. There's a lot of geometry. Too bad I cut off the window here. There is some sort of dust speck here, which it's very easy to remove. This was shot at f11, which is much more appropriate. Let me auto level it. Yes, it's better, but now it made it actually worse. This I think I have to crop it a little bit. Hold on. This makes no sense, that window there. Yeah, maybe like so. Unfortunately, the electric wire is there. I can crop it. I can cut it off with a healing tool and whatnot, but we're just going to leave it for the moment. Let's just recover as much as we can from the highlights. like this and open up the shadows, search RAM Elite technique. And now we lose all the contrast, so we'll bring it back with the white point and the black point. And that's about it. But have we finished? No, we'll add our Kodachrome emulation, which doesn't really work. This time, this one is better, I think, Kodachrome grainy. And we have something like some sort of a geometry pattern. It's kind of, I like it and I don't like it. There is a lot of things happening here in the half of the frame, but then we have this uninteresting sky. But I think overall, yeah, I think it's working. It's not a masterpiece, but I will just leave it be as it is. And we move on. The same thing, but much more bizarre. At least here we have only people dressed in black. Here there are this girl in sweatpants, some cars on the side. Doesn't make any sense. If we want to really edit this photo, we have to crop it severely, like so. And maybe we forget about this tree as well. Maybe. But then we cannot see we are cutting the girl's leg. And we have to see the whole image. Okay, now I have to put the tree back because it doesn't make any sense to cut it. And that's probably the shot, which I don't see it being extraordinary either. But anyway, it's kind of it. And we put back the Kodachrome emulation and we pretend we are photographers and we move on. It's much better. I think it's good, man. That's actually a good photo. Wow. Yeah, no, it's good. You have the church, the tree, the people. There is some breaking of a pattern with these sweatpants. The light was bad, but yeah, we move on. Those exposures are taking one stop apart, and I think it's just okay. I just want to recover more of the or more of the highlights, like so. Yes. Now I should probably pick something else. As a white balance is better. I should straighten the photo. Like so. And I should apply a Kodachrome emulation. Like so. And we can still add more contrast because this is just 2 HDR. Oh, I don't see any. I don't know, for some reason it doesn't work. No, it works, but there is nothing coming. Okay, maybe like so. And we turn on the whites as well. Yeah. Yeah, now we have a much better image. I'm not sure what's happening here in the ceiling area. But here, around here. But I think it's fine. Is it a good photograph? Yes. Can be sold as a stock photo? Yes. For 20 cents? Maybe 10 cents. Okay, we move on. I don't know why I took this photograph. There is this bird and a big dust, which complements the bird. I think I'll just take this off. And as you can see here at the bottom, I'll just make this 1:1 and I'll probably crop even further. And now we're much happy. Let's recover the highlights. Okay. And open up the shadows. Okay. And we'll do the white point. There is too much. And the black point, which is here. And that's like this. We have to remove these dust specks from here. And let's apply Kodachrome. Does it change in any way? No. Kodachrome grainy. I think it's best. Now, what about cropping? Is the tower in the middle? Maybe we should put it smack in the middle, like so. Yeah, this is much better. This can be sold for 5 cents. But this bird, no matter how much influence, I think it's tilting the photograph, make it heavier on the left side. There is nothing here. We should put another bird here. That would have been ideal. But there was no bird. So we move on, accepting the failure. Now, probably this photograph is the one that I'll be editing, because I really like. We'll stop with the cropping, like so, just to get only this type of houses. And the colors are absolutely atrocious. There is nothing to recover in highlights, so hopefully Kodachrome, oh yeah, Kodachrome to the saving, baby. And maybe now we can add a little bit more contrast and stuff like this. Should we play with the white balance, white not, just to destroy the Kodachrome colors? And we should add some grain, man. Maybe Kodachrome. Yeah, that's better. That's more Instagram-like. Maybe I should actually lower the exposure a little bit. Yeah, I really like this. Why? Because it simply looks like patterns. You see this house, rows of houses and windows, they're all kind of the same. It's kind of mesmerizing. I really like it. This is definitely 50 cents. This is a 50 cents photo right there, right now. I'm paying all of it, baby. Stock photography websites, 50 cents. I can even buy a macaron. Next, it's just atrocious. Here, probably we can do the same thing by cropping. Hello, would you give me the crop tool? And we're cropping, so we get only this type of houses. This row of cars in the bottom has nothing to do. Now I have this car here, so maybe I can move the... No, I don't have anything to. It's horrible. There are a lot of elements that have nothing to do with the photograph. So the photograph itself, maybe this one is the photograph itself, but that car is like... Okay, there's the photograph. You see how much I cropped in, and again, there is nothing else to do but apply the Kodachrome grainy, and probably let's play with the white balance. Oh, I made it worse. Maybe a little bit like this, and there is to add some tint. No, don't add any tint. I think that's it. It's again a lot of buttons and stuff like this. Too bad there is not too much light on the houses itself, but probably we can increase the white point just to make them whiter. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, you see, there was not a good light in the photograph. I think it's working. Maybe to decrease the exposure because it's just too flat. Yeah, now it's better, and add some contrast. I made it worse. Well, it was worse to begin with. Anyway, we go back, and hopefully this could work, but those two people are ruining everything. And now it's much better. But this is probably the best. Though I have this, crop tool to the rescue. We can probably use the crop tool and create some sort of a square format, maybe, just to remove unnecessary parts of the photograph. And you see this grave here, it bothers me, so I'll just crop even more. And maybe left, yeah, that's it. That's perfecto. We just have to decrease the exposure, or maybe leave it. We'll apply our Kodachrome filter to make it worse. What are the filters we have? Portrait doesn't work. Kodachrome grainy. Leave it like this to confuse people. And again, yeah, I think I like it. It's good. Portfolio is not. There is this Indian woman, which doesn't make any sense. This photograph is rubbish. Again, this lady looking at this player ball. We move on. Nothing to take. This is Saint Bridget. This is someone, a mural. Absolutely amazing. But then I said to myself, why would I photograph someone else's work? Like, what is this? This man spent months doing it, and I'm just clicking the button. Doesn't work. I have to be more creative. I had those two people walking. They make no sense. Then I use this leading lines towards the Saint Bridget mural, which probably is going to work if I'm doing my technique of adding unnatural contrast. Like so. Maybe it's working, maybe it's not. Slap in the Kodachrome and call it a day. I think I like it, but it's nothing to die for. So then I experimented further with composition, and I found this. This is much better because this is a mural in reflection, and this is like some sort of a publicity banner, but there are no human elements whatsoever. We'll try to lower the highlights and bring out the shadows, and nothing happens. And they will play with it a little bit with white and blacks. And probably here we have to add a radial mask radial gradient like this, just to open up the exposure here, hoping that we can see St. Bridget face much better. And we do, but the whole photograph makes no sense. This is not serendipity, so we move on and promise ourselves we never do this again because it sucks. Now, again here I was trying to play with the perspective of this Gaelic football player and the St. Bridget mural, which this photograph makes absolutely no sense. Like, why would this be a serendipity here? There is nothing here. There is nothing to show me that there is a contrast between this man and I mean, you can only say that football is like a religion, Gaelic football religion in this of this country, but I don't even know if this is a Gaelic football player or it's different type of sport. So I move on. But before that, I just have to crop because this pharmacy logo doesn't make any sense. And now and then there is this parking spot here as well, doesn't make any sense. So probably it's a better crop like this. Yeah. But did we apply the filter? No. So we'll do it now. Kodachrome 70, grainy. Those two cars, unfortunately, they are ruining the photograph. And this fence here as well. At least they have kind of similar color. But it's a poorly attempt of street photography, so we move on. Again, I was playing with the perspective here, and probably this is the best of the all three photographs, which are quickly edited by simply open up the shadows, removing some dust specks, and playing with the contrast through white and black point before applying a horrible Kodachrome filter, which looks like this. Should I correct the perspective? Should be. We play the auto button, and again, we promise ourselves that we'll do better next time. Here, nothing worth mentioning. I don't know how some people, why are they wearing this type of hats? And then I went home and I saw this sign here on the left, do not disturb, disturbed enough as it is. So that was my attempt with this street photography. It's not my cup of tea. I think I'll go back to my black and white photographs. Some of them are working, most of them they are not. You have to shoot probably 1,000 photographs to get one good. And you probably have to shoot like 1,000 photographs to get 10 good photos. Apart from that, I don't know. And keep on experimenting, keep on shooting, enjoy life. See you next time.